Hey guys, sorry, I just noticed that when I look to my left, this is the screen that I'm looking at. The camera's here, so it kind of looks like I'm looking away from the main share screen that I have with you guys. So hopefully that doesn't bother you so much, but I think if you've already watched the previous videos, you've gotten used to it by now, right? So this is the video on the review of Unit 3. Before I even get there, there's one thing at the end of Unit 2 that I didn't really talk about because I didn't scroll down to the last page. And also the syllabus doesn't seem to highlight this, which concerns me. So on page 93, towards the end of Unit 2, they have a full page on sustainability and sustainable tourism. It's pretty important. Yeah, here it doesn't really have that, looks like. So I suggest you guys read page 93 and the top of 94 because if there ever comes a question about sustainability, it's something that you guys will have to explain. And in class, I just generalized it by saying that sustainability is all about making the business or the destination go on for a very long time and not really damaging the environment, making sure that it does well and it succeeds. But to be more specific, there are these bullet points that you can go through. This one talks about environmental, this one talks about social cultural, and this one talks about economic. See what I'm pointing at. Um, the highlights that you would probably want to memorize are these bullet points here because they're going to be asking you as if you were a sustainable destination manager, like what kind of things or what kind of goals or aims do you have in mind while developing tourism in your destination. So um, let me just read. They should make use of partnerships to create plans to welcome and involve and satisfy visitors, which is pretty much making sure that the visitors, the tourists that come into the destination feel welcomed and they feel satisfied from their experience. Um, they should achieve a profitable, prosperous, and high quality industry, making sure that businesses are doing good business and they're making profit and they're producing things that are of high quality. A third bullet point is involve and benefit all host communities. So this is key because a lot of times businesses and tourism of a destination doesn't really do much to care about the local people, the local communities. So businesses that do that, that actually care about the people that live around their business or care about the local people that um, are kind of not in the way, but kind of um, bringing tourists into their community or the local area, that those people, the local people, are also satisfied, hoping that that they don't feel like they're being invaded by these tourists, and that there is some benefit to the local people when they see these tourists come into their area. So a benefit of all host communities. And the last one is protect and enhance the local environment. So not only do the local people have a welcoming attitude, but they also have the motivation to know that when they do see tourism develop in their local area, that they know that it directly ties into um, an improvement on their local economy, the local environment, and so forth. So if you understand these bullet points, then you have like a really good idea of what sustainable tourism is. Okay, so make sure you read that. I kind of forgot to put that in the last video because I was in a rush and I forgot that they mentioned this after. It's kind of out of place, but it cut after all these different tourism. items that I had mentioned. Okay, so that's that. I'm just going to close this out and start Unit 3. Unit 3 is, I guess, one of my favorites because it's talking about customer service. Make sure you follow the syllabus. I'll give you the page numbers. I already posted them. So customer care and working procedures. I'm not gonna go through everything, but I'm just gonna see what I think I can highlight for you guys. So 3.1, deal with customers and colleagues. The moment of truth. Okay, so this is pages 97 through 111. Okay, so you guys have to know these. Importance of following customer care policies. So kind of understand that policies have to be in place, kind of like rules, but these are the things that each business tries to highlight in the way that they do customer service. So there might be a list of standards or a list of policies for business that they want to make sure that all the employees and all the workers are pretty much doing the same thing when it comes to customer service. If you don't have policies like this, then pretty much every worker or employee um, can do like whatever they think is best, and it doesn't look good when the workers are all working at a different level of customer care or customer service, because you want consistency in the service that you get from one business or one company, right? So you can kind of review some of this stuff. Let's see. A lot of situations where customer service is provided. You guys will need to know what is a moment of truth. Hopefully you know by now. Anytime a customer interacts with an employee is a moment of truth, usually in the beginning stages of the service. The moment of truth is the first impression, and that first impression happens more than once because, for example, in a hotel, um, you see the receptionist first, but that's only the interaction between the customer and the receptionist. Then they might have to have an interaction with housekeeping. Maybe they need to get something for their room. Then they'll also have an interaction with wait staff at the restaurant. They might have an interaction with one of the maintenance people. All of these interactions are moment of truth. Okay? And those are very important for businesses to really keep in mind that anytime there is an interaction, it has to be a good impression. So the moment of truth deals a lot with how the customer is dealt with according to the policies that the business has. Okay. Let's see. Oh, there we go. Finally, the importance of following customer care policies. Okay, so you guys can go over that stuff that I've underlined here. Maybe you guys some stuff that you've highlighted. So when it comes to policies, you guys have some things called uh, operational standards and then competence standards. Just have to know operational standards. How do workers have to operate? What has to be done? So there are like a list of things that workers need to make sure that they follow. It becomes routine. They don't really have to memorize it, but they have to follow so that good customer service is given to everyone according to where they work or what department. Okay, so um, that's operational standards. Competence standards is how these things are done. So it's like the attitude, the consistency, what else? The behavior, like the way that these things have to be done. Some businesses, they really don't care about competence standards because they just pretty much want to make sure that all the workers are doing what they're supposed to be doing, but there really isn't like a high level of good customer service. You usually equate good customer service with the attitude that you get with the service, right? So if they have a very polite, welcoming, and friendly attitude, then you get a good impression compared to other businesses that do the same thing, but the workers just look like they're just doing it for work, right? So that's the difference between those standards. Okay. The next is the necessity of good teamwork and training. I don't want to get through too much of this, but you see here in these bullet points, there's a lot of different departments that happens just even in a hotel. So a lot of businesses have different departments and they all need to work together well. One department can't do everything, and each of the departments have to have good communication and good teamwork so that there is a good full customer service experience for that customer. Okay. Um, C, the importance of courtesy, tact, and diplomacy. Where does that start? Um, there, starts there. Um, recognizing recognize when dealing with customers and any specific needs. Okay. The guest cycle is something you should know. This is mostly for hotels, but it's good to know that these are the main steps in the guest cycle: reservation, registration, check-in, occupancy, and checkout in history. Kind of know what each of these stages really mean, because these are the steps that the customer takes in the full experience. And it starts with the reservation. It's actually the first impression, even though it's not the moment of truth, is the reservation because that's the promotion part where they were originally attracted to booking something so that they can experience it once they get to the destination. Then you have, once you get there, the check-in or the registration. Occupancy is like the actual experience of it for a hotel. It would be actually staying in the hotel room and then having all the experience of what the hotel provides. So occupancy while they are occupying their space or actually there, staying there. Checkout in history is how they leave. So a lot of people think that just up to this third bullet point is really the most important, but checkout is actually pretty important too, because first of all, you don't want to be rushed out. You want to be able to know that there is a set deadline of when you have to leave, and then also history is more talking about from the business perspective how they want to make sure they keep the history of everything that they've done in these four bullet points documented. Okay, for future purposes, maybe it's going to be a loyalty program information or a return customer that you just want to make sure that their next visit is a much easier one. If there were any problems, that those things were documented so that these same problems don't happen again for other customers, making sure that they don't repeat the same mistakes that they probably did the first time, stuff like that. Okay, so all of these stages are kind of narrated out to you or written out to you so that you can have a better visual in your mind of what they look like. Okay. Um, and the last one for 3.1 is procedures for handling complaints. All right. There are four steps. Listen carefully, apologize in general terms, never argue and agree with the solution with the customer. This will be important. It's been a while since I've seen this kind of question. I remember maybe like somewhere like 5, 6, 7 years ago that there were procedures for handling complaints questions. It might come again when it comes to these new exams, the ones that you guys are about to have. So make sure you kind of memorize these steps and understand why these steps are important. There might be more detail in the slides. You can just read these just to refresh on why it's important even in this order. So it's just good. Just overall, just good to know this when dealing with a customer who does have a complaint. All right. Understand that each of these steps have its own purpose. Okay. And it's very strategic. So 3.2, moving on. Identify the essential personal skills required when working in the travel and tourism industry. 3.2 is pages 111 through 116. All right, so we're going to start down here. Yeah. Now we're getting into more of the details of what customer service requires. So A, awareness of the need for essential personal and interpersonal skills in particular job roles. Right? So these are the things that the workers need to have to make sure customer service is good. So personal skills and interpersonal skills kind of go hand in hand. Personal skills is more talking about the specific skills that people have when that requires them to do work like A receptionist will need to know how to use a computer. Um, they'll need to know how to type well. They'll need to be able to read. They need to be able to write. So in the mark scheme, sometimes reading is called literacy, and then doing numbers, like doing simple math and doing numbers well, is called numeracy. Those are personal skills. Interpersonal skills is the one that's highlighted in bold here. Communication skills, people skills, or soft skills. So it's a skill that's related to how you deal with people. Some people are more friendly than others, and some people are not. So people who are not so friendly or not that approachable should not be doing like frontline work, interacting with the customers. But a lot of travel and tourism work is dealing with customers face to face in some way or another. So interpersonal skills are very important. Some of the bullet points here talk about some of the qualities, the good qualities that are necessary to have good interpersonal skills or people skills. Okay, so down here, the importance of personal presentation, clear speech, numeracy, and literacy skills. That's what I just talked about previously, what personal skills fall under. Okay, and down here, they talk more about hygiene, like how workers should present themselves. So I remember they would ask for how this is important and what are some of the examples. So when it comes to hygiene, being well groomed, being presentable, these are the bullet points. So you might want to keep in mind a few of these at least, just in case you get asked something similar to this. Okay, because how a person looks or the way that a person looks is very important. It's also part of the impression, even though it's not the interaction. People being in uniform, this is so important. We might overlook this, but if someone is not in uniform and they're working in customer service in some way or another, it's very unprofessional, especially if you're working or a customer is having an experience at a company or a business or a hotel that has a good reputation, right? So, along with these other bullet points too. Okay. All right, so there are barriers to effective communication. You might want to know this too. They're highlighted and I mean they're bolded and they're bullet pointed. So these are the things. These bullet points here are the things that kind of cause a problem when customer service is happening. Obviously, language problems. If you can't communicate, then how are you gonna get anything done? Prejudice, the way that you think about certain people according to um, whatever discriminatory thing that you might have about them. It goes vice versa, the worker to the customer to the worker. It happens. Cultural differences, complexity. Maybe if there's communication, you got to keep the communication clear and short and concise. Maybe if it's too long or technical, can't really communicate clearly. Concentration, making sure that any kind of communication is delivered 100%. Sometimes you miss a few information and it just doesn't work out. Okay. All right. So what else? Awareness. We're in C now. Awareness of the applications of technology. So CRS and GDS we talked about way before, but this is important to keep in mind because these are the things that also um, store information about history and about booking and all that stuff. I guess CRS is also used with hotels to be able to run businesses well too, not only to do booking on different components of the travel and tourism um, experience. So here it says a website allows online booking and acts as a marketing tool, database aid, direct marketing, and finance systems help to streamline payments. So a lot of the inner workings of how a hotel uses information and stores information also is considered CRS, I guess. But just as long as you know that these are also important things for businesses. All right. Other information technologies such as telephone, telex, video text, facsimile, and the internet. My goodness, those things are old. This book needs to be updated. It's more than 10 years old. I think you guys just need to understand that computers are being used and the internet is very helpful. with businesses and for customers. Okay. 3.3, moving on. So I go to the next page here. 3.3. Okay. Following basic procedures when handling customer inquiries, making reservations and payments. That one is pages 116 through 118. 116 through 118. All right. So the word inquiries, if that comes up, it's just a request of information. That's what it means. Whenever a customer requests any kind of information about a business and about how to do something through their business, that's an inquiry. Okay. Reservations, I think you know. Payments, yeah, that too. So all of that is important. There are steps that need to be taken for each business to make sure that all of these things are done appropriately. So for example, the first one, A, customers' requirements correctly interpreted upon receipt of an inquiry in person, in writing, or in telephone. Okay. These customers, these potential customers at this point are wanting to get information. And based on the information that they get, they will decide to move forward with the business or choose another business. So this is very important. So these bullet points here on this page, page 117, very important to know. Not all of them, obviously, but just have read through these as a refresher, and then just have an idea, knowing that businesses try to make sure that the information is given to customers like this, in this manner, because this is the best way. These are the things they have to keep in mind. Customers want as much information as possible. Usually they don't want to read or be communicated too much. They want things to the point. So what will happen is most of the time customers might ask a question either through email or like a feedback box or a comment box or something, something for them to click on a website, or even an automated chat menu. These are the things that are going to be enacted for that business so that the customer gets exactly the information that they want. So that they are satisfied with knowing that your business can provide them with their needs. Okay, so I'm not going to go through all that, but that's what that whole list of bullet points is talking about. Let's see, simple reservations. B, simple reservation file prepared following set procedures, including use of diary for further action required. Okay. How do you simplify all of that? Yeah, I don't think I went over this that much. Because I really don't think you need to know this. Yeah. Use reference sources to obtain information. Yeah, it's confusing. As you can see, I didn't underline or highlight anything from here because this is one of the sections which I thought kind of unorganized and doesn't seem important. So I'm just going to go straight down to timetables, travel brochures, and tariffs used to obtain accurate information. Right. Yeah. This section doesn't even have that much. All right, you guys know what an itinerary is? Yeah. So itineraries are helpful. I asked you guys to make an itinerary for a possible trip, which never really happened, but itinerary is helpful because you guys get to see exactly what will happen during the trip experience. Okay. It also details out everything that the customer or the tourist wants or will be going through. So step by step, um, starting from day one all the way to checkout or all the way to their return flight. Those things are laid out. The more detailed it is, the better, because the customers want to know what they're paying for. So every element counts. If there's something missing in the itinerary, um, either it's just poor communication by the business, or it's going to be something that needs to be adjusted in the itinerary to make sure that the business knows that something needs to be included. Okay. All right. So let's see. All right. Use of computerized information systems, relevant technology to obtain information. CRS. This is where CRS was coming up, and global distribution systems. This was mentioned before. I don't think you really need to know this. Don't waste your time here. Exchange rate listed, devised, and used. Exchange is important. I don't think you'll be asked in the customer service context of exchange rates. Okay. So I think here, I just blew past 3.4, use reference courses to obtain information, which is 118 to 122. Don't bother with this. I don't think they're going to ask you anything about this. It seems very technical when it comes to customer service things, but scan through it at least so that you guys can have some basic knowledge of what this section is about. All right, let's see. Explore the presentation and promotion of tourist facilities, page 123 to 128. Right. So have you heard about the marketing mix? Maybe you have from business. 4 Ps. Um, Businesses have to try to present and promote what they're trying to sell, and they need to do this effectively. Um, and they definitely need a lot of promotional methods. They can't just do one way. People don't come through just via one method of promotion to their business. And usually businesses, they'll try to find what has been more effective, but they want to try to hit up as many potential customers as possible. So they're going to use different methods. So here in the syllabus, it says examples, visual displays for shop window, advertisements, leaflets, brochures, and the internet. I think they go into detail about that stuff. Oh, the range of promotional methods and their use identify. So go through that. Um, each one has their own characteristic. You guys know what brochures are. You should be able to describe what a brochure is instead of just trying to illustrate it from your mind and then describing it on paper. Usually in brochures, you have a map, okay? And of course, it depends on the brochure, but a map of the destination so that you can see all the different things that are possible to do there. A table of climate figures, maybe, maybe not, but just knowing what the weather conditions are like. If it's not like just the same weather all year round, or most consistently for that season. Let's see, a photograph showing aspects of natural and built environments. Obviously, because you have to know what there is to see, both in the natural and the built. A description of facilities to be found. You want to know where you can actually go and maybe enjoy and use different facilities in the destination. Brief details of local places of interest and attractions. Right. So that feels like a really big brochure, but a brochure for a destination, you probably find a lot of those in the hotels. And for people who haven't done their research, it's very useful. Okay. These also might be at airports, at the tourist information centers too, just so that tourists who pass by can actually pick one up. Usually these things are free so that they can see all of what there is to do at the destination. Promotional leaflets, this is a smaller version of a brochure. And remember, it doesn't have to be about the destination because brochures can be specific to certain businesses. So these bullet points are just generalized descriptions, all right? But leaflets are mini brochures. They're just giving you a more summarized version of everything a brochure would have. Advertisements, different types of advertisements exist. Um, let's see, examples such as brochures, newspapers, direct mail, and radio. These are like different media. Okay, there's print media, there's broadcast media, and what else? Social media, right? Internet. So these are the different ways that they want to reach out to different markets or different types of customers. All right. So advertisements come in various forms, not only in the internet. Okay. Okay. So let's see more information about what kinds of advertising they can use. Internet, I think you guys kind of know, but just you go over these bullet points. Website features that appear to yield the most positive returns for national destinations. Example, of what a successful website, the components that they have. Uh, search facility, the search facility is like one of the biggest ones. Like I get super irritated whenever I go to a website and I can't really type in what I'm looking for. It's like I have to click to finally get to where I want to go, get information. So that's like number one, and I totally agree. And just go through the rest of these bullet points. These are very important when it comes to how websites should be developed so that promotion can be done more effectively. Window display and other in-house promotional methods. I remember a past paper question specifically targeted with this, talking about what are the different ways a hotel can use a promotional method, um, and how customers, and in what ways can customers be exposed to these methods just in their hotel experience, right? So kind of just know that just in a hotel, you have several ways that promotions can happen. Not about the hotel, obviously. It could be about the hotel facilities and maybe some of the amenities that they have, like gym, pool, spa, all of that stuff. But the hotels usually try to advertise for different attractions and different events and different things that they're associated with business-wise in that destination. So they're going to have these bullet points as different methods of promoting their business partners. Okay. All right. So finally, we've gone to the end of Unit 3. There's a lot to go over there, but I think I've highlighted some of the important things. So I'd highly suggest to kind of go through these bullet points, things that I've underlined, go along with the syllabus. If there's anything you don't understand, just read that section according to the pages that I've given you. All right, and then also you can go through the slides a little bit more visually, easy to kind of go through as well. So I will make my next video on Unit 4. Thank you guys.